I used to believe my life was perfect, a loving wife, 2 beautiful children, and a home filled with laughter. It wasn't grand, but it was ours. I worked hard, never once complaining about the long hours, always making sure I was home in time for dinner at 7, bedtime stories at 8, and Sunday movie nights. These routines were small, but they meant everything to me.
Then something changed.
My wife, the woman I had loved for over a decade, began to drift away.
At first, it was subtle.
A missed kiss, a quiet dinner, a distant look. I told myself it was just stress or exhaustion. She'll snap out of it, I reassured myself. But days turned into weeks, and her silence grew heavier than any argument we had ever had. The warm greetings disappeared. No more "How was your day?" No goodnight kisses. Just cold glances and endless scrolling on her phone. I noticed the way she smiled at her screen, the texts she never ignored, the late-night phone calls she took in hushed tones. I convinced myself I was overthinking. People get busy, right?
But deep down, I knew better.
My home no longer felt like home. I had become a stranger in my own house. She used to light up when I walked through the door. Now, she barely looked up. Dinner was no longer a family moment. It was her, glued to her phone, chuckling at messages from someone else. Every time I asked what was so funny, her response was the same: "Just a friend." I tried to stay calm, to be the understanding husband. But how do you stay composed when your wife disappears for hours with no explanation? When she steps outside to take calls she doesn't want you to hear. When she starts treating you like you don't exist. Then came the silence. Not the kind that comes after a fight, but the kind that erases you. One morning, I said, "Good morning," like I always did. Nothing. I asked if she wanted breakfast.
Silence.
I texted her from across the room, "Are you mad at me?" She read it and scrolled past, as if I were nothing more than a spam message. By evening, I had stopped trying. I sat with my children, helping them with homework, while she walked past us like we weren't even there. That night, as I watched her sleep, peaceful, unbothered, I felt something inside me shift. I wasn't angry anymore.
I was calm.
The kind of calm you feel before making a decision you can never take back. I glanced at my children's room. They deserved better. They deserved to grow up knowing love wasn't silent. That being ignored wasn't normal. If she wanted to act like we didn't exist, I would show her what real absence felt like. Quietly, I moved. I grabbed the suitcase I had hidden away, one I had bought just in case. The just-in-case moment had arrived. I packed essentials for my kids, their clothes, shoes, their favorite toys. I packed only what I needed.
No clutter. No extras.
I wasn't coming back. By 3 a.m., I was ready. I didn't leave a note. Notes are for people who deserve explanations. I took one last look at her, still asleep, and walked out. As I locked the door behind me, the click of the lock felt final.
It felt like freedom.
As I buckled my kids into the car, my youngest rubbed her eyes and mumbled, "Where are we going, Daddy?" I kissed her forehead and whispered, "Somewhere better, baby." I started the engine, turned off my phone, and drove.
No GPS. No plan. Just forward.
The city lights faded behind us as the night stretched on, the road ahead unknown yet liberating. I imagined her waking up, stretching lazily, reaching for her phone, expecting the same mundane routine. But today was different. The house was eerily silent. No laughter, no cartoons, no smell of breakfast.
Just emptiness.
She must have called out, "Babe?"
Nothing.
Checked the kids' room, empty.
Closets half open.
Clothes missing. Panic must have crept in. She would have tried calling me, only to find her calls going straight to voicemail. No read receipts.
No response.
I can picture it, her pacing the room, calling her mom, her friends. "Have you seen them?" Desperation creeping into her voice. She had ignored me for weeks. Now, it was her turn to feel what it was like to be invisible. Her calls probably came faster, 10, 20, 30 missed calls. But I didn't answer. I imagined her tears, her voice breaking as she whispered, "Please just answer." But I wasn't there anymore. I kept driving, watching the sunrise paint the sky in hues of gold and crimson. My children stirred in the back seat, unaware of the magnitude of this moment. A fresh start awaited us, a place where love wasn't taken for granted, where presence meant something. She had made me feel invisible. Now, she would understand what that really meant. And for the first time in years, I felt seen.